When we talk about Ghanaian prominent designers, I mean, those who are globally renowned, there are only a few names that probably pop up. And even within those names, there's one person who's responsible for training most of them. I can say that confidently. Her name is Joyce Ababio, and she's here with us today, and we're going to delve into everything that she's been working on and the legacy that she has left in the Ghanaian fashion industry. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
And welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
It's like we're sitting here with fashion royalty, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
literally, there are only a few names who fall in that category. Seriously. Now, we can talk about so many things, but we'll just get to know you a bit.
All right.
And then we'll talk about your recent projects
Sure.
and the JACCD.
Design Institute.
Yes, everybody wants to know what's happening there. But, Auntie Joyce, why don't we start off with your background, your upbringing, and fashion? Now, to the best of your memory, as a young girl growing up, where did you grow up, and was fashion a part of your life at all?
Well, I was born here in Accra, and I grew up in Accra.
Okay.
My mother was a designer as well.
Okay.
Actually, when I was born, she left me with my aunt, and she went to London to study.
Oh.
So I was raised by my aunt for a couple of years before she came. But I watched her do this over the years. People are young these days, so when I say certain things, I'm sure they will know that. But there was she used to do work for UTC, GNTC, those places. And I was always under the table somewhere while she was working.
Okay.
So somehow I grew up knowing what to do and understanding what to do.
The influence was
Yes.
there.
But then I went to Achimota Secondary School. One of my, of course, favorite subjects was clothing and textiles because that was the area I really loved. Left Ghana 1980 and went to the US.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, when I was leaving Ghana to the US, in order to get your school fees sent to you, you had to apply at a secretariat for them to approve the course for the money to be put in the bank.
Okay.
So when I applied with fashion design, and they turned me down.
Oh.
They turned me down, and then a lady called me and said, "You need to apply with another subject." So I'm like, "Which one?" And she said, "Medical technology." So I applied with medical technology, and it was approved.
Wow.
So I actually left Ghana, went to St. Cloud State University, studying medical technology. So that's what I did.
You kidding?
Wow.
You
Exactly.
studied medical technology.
Medical technology for about a year and a half, and I said, "My God, this I can't do anymore." So I had a conversation with them. They said, "We don't really have a good fashion program in this school," so I transferred
Okay.
to Texas Women's University to do fashion design.
Oh, nice. You finally got to do your dream.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there wasn't anything else I wanted to do, so that was it.
It was nice. Okay, so what was your textile fashion education like in the US compared to what you had learned and observed in Ghana?
The US basically teaches you to think. It's creative thinking. And when I got to the US was when I realized what the problem was in Ghana. Because even though I was chewing and pouring the way they
Right.
say chew and pour, I wasn't really getting the grades that I thought I should get for the hours I spent in the night chewing.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't quite grasp it. I used to do well in some areas, but not so good in some areas. But when I got to the US and I was thrown into this auditorium with 300 people the very first day, and everybody knew why we were there, and I didn't. That was the eye opener for me to realize that, my God, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
So in listening to them, exchange words, talk to the lecturer
And they're so
and all
confident
that.
about it,
Yes,
you
very
know?
much. I was lost because here they
Yes,
write on the board,
Yeah.
you copy it, then you go back
don't
and
ask
go and.
questions, plenty.
It was.
Yes.
I mean,
Everything.
after a semester in the library, trying to catch up, was when I realized that, what the problem is. I like to be able to understand the work I'm doing, to be able to do well in it. But if I had to chew and go and write word for word what I had to learn, then that was my problem. But when I understood that I could actually write my own words explain the way I understand it, all that, things got better for me, you know.
Interesting.
So, and that is our problem, usually. That's the problem. But then learning there was good. There was lots to see. You know, you have the visuals in America. So even when they hold a conversation about something, you're able to see it, and then your mind actually works. But then the way it works is you finish, and then now you go and gain the experience from working with another company or a fashion house or whatever it is. So that is what we had to do.
So where did you go from Texas Women's? Where did you go to
I
practice your
did
talent?
Victor Costa for a short period of time. And then I worked in another company that did suits. You know, the way I functioned in the time I was in school was I wanted to know everything. So I chose different areas to learn.
Okay.
So I decided, I worked in their factory for a period of time. I went into doing men's clothing for a period of time. I actually also got to working with a fabric shop. Then I went into alterations. I made a decision,
Wow.
got into alterations, then got on the floor and started retailing, then became a manager in a shop. So I went through different areas, wanting to learn everything to do with fashion. So that's how I functioned.
That made you very well-rounded, obviously.
Yes.
So you know
So I
every
understood.
aspect of it.
And managed some shop that had different locations. I'll go and do their showroom work and all that. So I learned different areas of fashion while I was in the US.
Do you remember the first outfit you made that you sold, maybe for a decent amount of money?
Here in Ghana.
Or even...
When I came to Ghana, I said to myself that I'm really tired and I'm going to just rest for a year. That's what I said. I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
So I brought everything though, but I didn't open any of them. The rest turned to looking for a location. And you know, at that time, Osu, where they used to call Oxford Street, I decided that is a place I want my shop. So I'll get up every morning and I'll drive to Oxford Street and look around for the shop. I wouldn't look anywhere else, just Oxford Street. That was my decision, what I wanted. And eventually got to the shop that I wanted. Then I got invited by a lady called Benefit Chodia. She said she was having a fashion show with some foreigners,
Okay.
people from outside. It included Oswald Boateng, Joe Casey Hayford, and the rest. And if I wanted to join, because she had heard that I came from the US and this is what I do. They had been planning this for 6 months. I was told a month to time. So then I had to pull out this machine I decided not to work with, set up the place, worked day, night, produce my gowns. My specialty is gowns.
Is
so
gowns.
I did, yes,
Okay.
exactly. So I did gowns, wedding gowns and cocktail dresses. And then showed up the very day of the show was when everybody saw what I had done. So I got there and then put my things up and I heard people asking, oh, who is she? Who is she? You know, well, I was new in town, so who is she? Definitely. And then the show came up, mine went up, and people actually stood up and clapped when the wedding gowns came.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of Joyce Ababio.
Okay.
When it was all over, everybody was looking for Joyce Ababio. I didn't have a shop. I hadn't set up. I hadn't done anything. So my husband said, why don't you put a signboard in front of the gate? So that is what I did. I put a signboard in front of the
In front
gate.
of your house? Or
And-
the Oxford Street
Yes.
place?
No, I hadn't rented that place yet.
So your house?
I had seen it. My house was at Asylum Down at the time.
Okay.
So I put it there. And the very first person who entered was our president, Ekufado's previous wife, the one who died,
Oh, wow.
his first wife. She was the one who came in and
Wow.
bought just about everything
Oh, wow.
that I had made. So that was
Seriously?
the beginning. So I had to quickly then go rent the shop, set up, get my, everybody to know where I am because they can't certainly come to the house. So that was the beginning. So she was the first person who
Your
bought
first customer.
an
That's-
outfit.
That's
of
a
mine.
good first
Pretty
customer,
amazing.
you know?
I know, right?
Your first customer being, that
Yeah,
prominent.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. You just blew up from there.
Then we moved, it just moved on.
So,
After that.
at what point did you feel that, look, I've got to extend beyond Joyce Ababio as an individual producing amazing material, fabric, you know, gowns and everything, to teaching people?
That is a story, actually, because I started off thinking I have no patience to teach anybody. And because I'm a really hands-on person, and I like things to be right. Perfectionist, let's put it that way, when it comes to stuff. So I kept saying, no, I can't teach anybody. But however, people would line up at my shop every day. I would come and I'll find parents sitting asking, can you train my daughter? Can you? And I couldn't say no, so I'll take a name and number and put it down. And eventually, a friend of ours' daughter came to ask, and my husband said, you two, why wouldn't you just teach this girl? So I said, okay, I'll think about it. But at that time, I was sending my garments to a shop in the US, and I'd gotten there and I'd spoken to 6 different people. They had all said, it's beautiful, we want it. But somebody else, a last person, had to make a decision. This last person came and said, we have decided not to work with Africans until you get your act together. And I'm quoting what exactly he said. You guys get your act together. So that was the end of the deal. After I'd waited for him, he had traveled, they said wait for him, so I waited. Anyway, so I came home and then started thinking, you know what, we do need to do something, because whenever I hire anybody to my shop, I have to train them. And there was just one way of working for everybody, and I had to train them for the way I wanted my things done. So this is what actually brought this up. So I thought, we have to do something. Did my research, put things together, selected 5 of the people that I had been writing their names.
Wow.
And they came and we started. I said, let's try this out and see what happens. We did it for 1 year. It was amazing. And then we added on. We moved from 5 to 12 to 25.
Wow.
And by the time we were at 25, I had the building at Osu. So we moved into that building. So that's from there we grew to this.
That's a story. I'll never forget that until you Africans get your act together.
We get our act together.
Well, you've been getting people's acts together
Yes,
for
because
a while now.
it had to change, really. Somehow I understood, because people were said, that was the time they were actually taking clothes from Africans. They would come and try and order from here and stuff. We didn't know timelines, you know us, how it is. Finishing was poor. People would have a black garment and finish off with white. That sort of stuff. So, I mean, somehow I understood what he was saying. How I thought that was fair to all of us, you know, but that was the decision that was made at the time.
Okay. So now we have the JACCD Institute of Design Africa.
Design Institute
Africa. You're going continental now. So from where you started with your 5 students, how has it grown? What do you offer as far as training for people who come to your institute?
We started off just doing certificate courses.
Okay.
Because at that time, I think my mindset was just to change people's mindset when it comes to the fashion part, because they always looked at us as dropouts, and nobody wanted to call you a fashion designer. They called you a seamstress.
Yes.
And all that. Not to say a seamstress is bad, but we all have our roles we play. So you have to, it's just like I can't call a nurse a doctor. So that is how it is. We all have our roles we play, but Ghana using the word seamstress is to mean something else. Do you get my point? Because most people don't understand that a seamstress does this, a tailor does that, a fashion designer does this, you know, that kind of stuff. They don't quite get it, so they just choose the word seamstress all the time. So to get to Design Institute Africa, we first had to become Joyce Ababio College of Creative Design from 2013 to now. We actually also became a university or a university college because we are waiting to get our charter. We have 1.5 years to go, and we are working hard at getting it. Yes. So we are under University of Cape Coast, and we've worked as that for a while. And now, before we were doing just fashion design, then we moved into diploma degree, and we added graphic design and entrepreneurship to it. But now we're doing gaming, animation, graphic design, TV, film,
This is serious. Whoa.
interior design, photography. We want it to be an all-inclusive creative institution that anybody in the creative sector can come and do anything. So what we've done is we've put all the equipment and stuff that we need. You can actually come there and use it.
Oh, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
No, but this is very fascinating.
I'm telling you.
That's what we're doing now.
The breadth
Yes.
of options for
Yes.
people who are creative.
Yes.
People who like to work with their hands.
That's what we were. So even in opening, we had some of our alumni that brought in their clothing for the gallery section, but we also included different other designers like Papa Opoku, Steve French, Biabasewa, all of them came as part of it.
They're
because
all
we want
your
everybody.
students?
They are not. Those three are not my
not.
students.
Okay.
But as I said, we are all inclusive. We want to make sure anybody.
Okay.
It's not just about Joyce Ababio. It has to be different other people because I want. And then we also had artists who brought in their paintings all over. So we are working with different people because the goal is come in there, talk to students, do your job over there or whatever work you want to do, inspire the students for them to get better, see what you get out of what you're learning.
Remind us of some of your students that people would know, names that people would recognize. People
Well,
you've
the
trained.
first one is Chrissy Brown.
Definitely.
Then we have Pistis, we have Ophelia Crossland. I mean, lots of them. Most
the
of
creme
them
de la creme, the
designers
top.
are.
Even the
from
three have
I
mentioned
know,
alone,
it's
and
like,
these are award winners.
Yes.
You know, of
Yes.
fashion competition.
That just
Anyway,
tells you the caliber of training.
So
yeah.
just some of our viewers are like me. I don't know the difference. How would I explain the difference between a seamstress, a tailor, and a fashion designer?
A seamstress job is basically, it's like I took a dress to a seamstress and I said, do it for me. She will be able to look and do the job for you. She's going to be able to, I mean, nowadays it's changed a little, but she's still going to do all the alterations. She can do the work. She can do the work. The difference between a seamstress and a fashion designer is a fashion designer has to understand all the processes of it. In other words, when you come to me, I'm talking to you. I'm looking at your body type, your figure, what suits you, what color you are, your tone, what color is going to look good on you, what is the occasion, what do you need to wear for that occasion. So there are so many different areas we have to look at, and then we are designing to fit you. That's the difference.
Okay.
So if me as a designer, if you bring me somebody's dress and you say, copy it for me, I'm not going to do it because that's not my job.
Got it.
My job is to take you, look at the total picture and create something
Right.
for you.
Then there are a lot of people calling themselves fashion designers
Who
who
are
are
not.
not.
There are all sorts.
Oh, sorts I like that. Okay, so we've got seamstress, fashion designer, tailor.
A tailor basically also is doing more of the tailoring part. You know, it depends on the cut, how you cut the garment. That so you find that they are usually doing a lot more men's clothing than women's clothing. But it's the same thing. They will sew for you and stuff, but they don't go really into detail as in figuring out who you are, creating a pattern. Most of them are freehand cutting, which is something we are trying to change. We want to make sure people learn how to use patterns to do the work. A lot of people tend to think it's a lot of extra work you have to do. But believe me, if you can use a pattern, you can sew anything. Every style, anything at all.
Okay, this is good education.
Interesting.
I think I need to come to the Design Institute and learn a few things myself.
So I'm just being fascinated about this thing that you just said. If you can use a pattern, so who creates those patterns?
We do.
Okay.
So if you come to the institution, I teach you how to create a pattern. I don't teach you how to create it, to do a style.
Okay.
I don't talk about style with you because style is for you as a designer to think it.
Okay.
I will teach you how to create a pattern. So any style anybody will give to you to do, you ought to be able to do it because you understand how to create a pattern.
Okay.
So when people come and say, do you teach wedding gowns? Do you teach slit and cover? Do you teach this? I tell you, no, I don't. I don't even teach you the style. I teach you how to create the pattern. Because if I teach you how to create a pattern, you will know how to do a wedding gown, slit and cover, men's clothing. You put it, my students do men's clothing, jackets, all of it. Because it's just the technique for doing patterns. And if you have a style in mind, you should be able to do it.
Wow. What's next? What's the next big dream? Because I'm sure when it all began, when you returned from the US, you didn't see today necessarily.
No. In fact, I wasn't anywhere near here.
Wow.
I was thinking I was going to be the fashion designer in this world.
Wow.
That was the thought process.
Wow.
You know, I was going to work hard at that. So I did my own shows and won awards here and there and that sort of stuff. And that was the direction I was going. So I didn't look at this side at all. But with here, I feel like it's my calling. So I'm quite okay with it. That I didn't end up the way I started out or what I was looking for at the time.
Wow. But do you still make clothes yourself?
Sometimes.
For special people?
Yes.
Like, you have to have the inside track to get it.
Sometimes I come to work and they've come and left the suitcase there with the fabric and gone. And so I don't have a choice but to step up and do what it needs to be done. Basically. So that happens.
Do you necessarily need to know how to sew to be a fashion designer?
It depends.
Okay.
In other countries, no. Because it's more creating. So you create the ideas, the styles, the trends and stuff, and somebody else will produce it for you.
Right.
But in Ghana, it's difficult. So here, it is good if you know how to sew.
Okay.
Because you are not going to find that somebody who's going to do it the way you want.
The way you want.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, for the institute, is there a minimum age where people can sign up and
not
come?
at all. But it's being under National Accreditation Board. You have to have done your WASI
Okay.
before because we go through that same requirement
Right.
to enter the institute. Unless it's certificate. If it's certificate, then still you should have done your WASI.
Iwasi.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I have had some young people before, like 14 years, and one girl especially, because the mom said she wasn't going to school unless she came to me.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes,
At
so
14?
she refused to go to school until mom brought her to so she came with a sketch pad, the things she has sketched and what I need to see and stuff, you know. So we actually trained her and she did amazingly well.
She just has the gift.
Yes.
What's she doing
But we
now?
had an agreement though. The agreement was you finish, you go to school.
Okay.
So that's what we did.
Oh, lovely.
So what's she doing now?
It's been years and I haven't actually heard from them in a while. So I'm not sure where she's at. But now that I've talked about her, I'll certainly check.
Please, if you're that girl, please get in touch with Auntie Joyce so we know who you are, where you are, what you're doing.
Any big dreams down the road?
More dreams.
More dreams.
As a creative, you know, a few weeks ago, somebody asked me, "Do you think you've arrived?" Well, I said to her that I think I arrived a long time ago, but
I like that.
I still think there's more to do. You know, if your mind works the way my mind works, you are always looking at something new. You get here and you move forward. Do you get my point? You see something else that you need to do. But I think I also recognize that I'm at an age that at some point I have to leave it for somebody else to do. But be at the background, sort of doing that. But the goal is to get this institute all over Africa. At some point, if we can even have different schools in different countries, that would be great. Because we have some amazing designers in other countries that we would like to help move things forward. But right now, we want to be the creative institution. The goal initially was to build at Pram Pram.
Okay.
There was 5 acres. I was going to build really big. But then we thought maybe we should have one in Accra, and then maybe later on we go to Pram Pram. So that might be our next step.
Nice.
But the Pram Pram came with hostels, staff housing,
Right.
all of it, so that
Nice.
That's big.
people will come and just
Yeah, stay there.
stay
Actually stay
and do
there.
the work.
Yeah. Have you ever considered doing like an e-campus kind of setup where, because you're looking at Africa, you're looking at, you know, probably doing like, you know, webinars, having these kind of videos, training videos, classes, you know, and all of those kind of things. you
Yes, we are actually set up that way right now.
know. Okay.
We are affiliated, not affiliated, we are partnering with some schools abroad, which is one of them is Instituto Marangoni, and we're doing research, textile research with them,
Okay.
with our students. So we do that with their master's program.
Nice.
And so we're always on Zoom or something, holding the conversation, telling them what we have researched. They take it, they apply it to different things.
Wow.
They come back and show us what they have done with it. And the students really love it because they suddenly realize what I can do with myself,
Yeah.
my designs, where I can go with it,
Yes.
you know, and it's not just sewing as
Yes.
people tend to see it, that there's a lot more to it than just sewing an outfit.
We
Wow,
love this.
fantastic.
I know. The Joyce Ababio College of Creative Design. Love it so much. Congratulations.
Thank
and
you
we
very
can't wait
much.
to see how the dream continues to grow, honestly. And for people who want to get in touch and contact you, how can they do that?
I have to be honest. I don't have the school.
But I'm sure I know you're on social media as well.
We are though.
So I'm sure if people
but
search,
I can give you the jaccd.edu.gh.
Okay, so that's the website.
That takes you to the website.
And
You get
everything
all
will be
the
there.
information from there.
Great stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joyce Ababio, the great, the legend of fashion design in Ghana.